Welcome to Azur Lane Meta. Today we are going to be continuing my most successful series on the channel, and that is PvP Meta Analysis. Welcome back, guys, to the meta analysis for March. Today we're going to go over the whole process that it takes to collect this data because it has changed substantially from when I last did it in November. So if you're coming here from a future video looking at the process looks like, this is where it would be. Before I do that though, I want to give a large shout out to the data collector team. So last video I did on this for February got a lot of traction, and a couple people volunteered to kind of help collect the data. So we are expanding from just one server to all 4 English servers in the game, and therefore we kind of have a larger data set than before. What I expect to be different is that we'll have more of the Magi fleets, maybe more USS battleship fleets, and probably less of some of the newer faction stuff like USS carriers or minor factions or something like that, because the server that I was collecting before was the newest server, and so they had the least amount of people that had access to older ships like Washington, Nagato, etc. And so the newer server is going to have a harder time collecting the older ships, or at least having a lot of people that still play them. So I expect that our ratios are going to be a little different. So when we look at the graph over time here, we're going to have to keep in mind that there might be some bias towards specific fleets from what we were doing before. So I'm going to demark that when we get to that section. So what we do for the process is we go and look at all 4 English servers, and we go out to the defense fleets of the top 100 players in PvP, and we look at this at the end of a season. And what we define as the end of the season is from 6 p.m. to midnight on every other Sunday when the season ends, server time. And that is the last time that exercises can be restocked for the season. So that's when we're looking. We're also going to try and get it as late as possible. So closer to about 11 p.m. is when we target to collect the data. And the reason that is we want to get as many people to have runs as possible. Lagging obviously benefits for top rank, so we want to lag as much as possible. But keep note, we are all just a human collection team. So sometimes it's collected at 9 p.m., sometimes it's collected at 11 p.m. If you're doing your rushes at 11:45 p.m., we are not going to collect you because we just don't have enough time to make sure everything is properly assessed. So these are not, I want to reiterate, not final standings. So of course we are looking at defense fleets, which you do not have to have a good defense fleet to rank high. However, towards the end of the season, when we're looking and collecting this data, it behooves a player to actually have a good defense fleet in order to rank higher by preventing other people from scoring as many points. So while a lot of people do have what I'd call meme or joke fleets in their defense fleets, that is probably the least likely to happen at this point in the season, because a lot of the top ranking players will actually switch their fleets over in week 2. For those who don't, we actually have a system for determining validity of a defense fleet to try and get rid of the noise. We use a strictly objective metric for that, and that is if the Vanguard and the main fleet both have a total fleet power of 12,000 or above. Yes, this does have some flaws because there are fleets that are, in my subjective opinion, meta fleets but are not equipped or something. They missed a fleet or something, but they aren't counted. And there are joke fleets that people are able to get over 12,000. I think it's fair that 12,000 is low enough that anybody who used a fleet to rank in the top 100 on any server is going to be well over 12,000. Yes, fleet power is not that important. The difference between a 13,500 fleet power and a 15,500 fleet power at top-end PvP does not make a difference. The 13,500 can frequently beat the 15,500 because fleet power is not very important in actually assessing the strength of a fleet. But every fleet is going to have at least 12,000 if it has 6 ships. That means that each ship should have a fleet power of 4,000. And that's very easily obtainable if they're fully equipped with plus 10 equips and level 120 maxed enhanced and max affinity. So if you are actually legitimately using a top-end ship that's not meta, we're actually going to count it so that we don't have any subjective plays. No, this is not me determining what's valid. It's literally if you equip it, and I'm pretty sure that every ship can actually get to 4,000 fleet power. Like, I'm pretty sure that you can equip every ship in a way that would do this. So if you really want to, you can make your data point really wonky by getting in the top 100 and getting it over 12,000. So that's what we used. And once again, thank you to the 3 data collectors that collected on the other servers so that we can have a more broad look at the PvP meta scene. They don't know this yet, but they're going to be getting the perks of patrons as a token of appreciation for all the effort that they put in. So without further ado, let's take a look at the servers. So all 4 servers are Aurora, Lexington, Sandy, and Washington in the order that they released. Now we're going to look at the participation of each server as a way to just kind of rank them. So for these 2 seasons, the top 2 servers tied for the top spot, which were Sandy and Aurora, for the most people who had viable defense fleets. Last place went to Lexington, who had the least amount of viable fleets in both seasons. So as we take a look at the aggregated data for the last 2 seasons, we see that the top 6 ships of the main fleet remain the same for both seasons in the month of March as they were for the final season of the month of February. And we also see that the top 3 Vanguard ships are also the same. So not too much change there. We do see that percentages actually increased in terms of the usage of the top ships. And we see obviously a change as the tail end gets more diverse since there's like a bunch of different one-ofs. The largest change that I've seen from before was the fact that Noshiru has seen a lot of use. This is probably just the fact that people are finally getting around to getting her to a level to replace Jinsu. Everything else looks more of the same. So let's go take a look at the main fleet pivot table. Yes, this can look very daunting. There are a lot of combinations, but 3 things I want to look at here is the most popular Queen Elizabeth fleet pair is going to be with Warspite and Monarch by far. We also see that Hood Enterprise seems to be a combo that people are liking. Finally, the most useful information that you can extract from this table is looking at the most popular choice amongst top players to pair with Namagi. Right now, that is still Hiru, despite Warspite being the 3rd most popular used ship. Hiru is the most common ship to put with that pair. And Enterprise being the 3rd choice, FDG being the 4th choice. So if you thought that table was daunting, let's look at the Vanguard pivot table. So we're going to look here at what compositions are the most popular. The most popular is Belfast Juno Yukikaze, as it continues to be. I think that's largely due to accessibility, but there are a couple other fleets that are more common now. Azuma Juno Yukikaze is very frequent. Noshiro Juno Yukikaze is used. Jinsu Noshiro Yukikaze also works. And then obviously some of the standard ones like Ainami Jinsu Yukikaze, Juno Belfast St. Louis are still around. On to the heat map. For those of you who are new and don't know what this is, if you look at that leftmost column and go down the rows, you take that ship in the leftmost column, and then we are looking at the percentage of fleets that used the other ships as you read across. For example, you would read the first one being 85% of fleets that had Nagato used Amagi. So this is kind of helpful for looking at which ships pair with other ships frequently, and you can kind of see it as it's color coded. I'm going to scroll across. Only ships that had been used 4 times are put in the column, but going across, every ship that was used is put, so they should all add up properly. So if you want to look at how a ship is used at the top tier of meta, then you can use this. For example, one note is obviously 100% of fleets that used Ditto used Queen Elizabeth. 85% of fleets that used Illustrious used Enterprise. And just little tidbits of information like that. You can pause the video at any time while I'm scrolling to get a look at a specific ship that you are interested in. On to the glorious pie chart. Just to reiterate, this is both seasons, so the whole month, and all 4 servers combined into this. So we see that Namagi is the most popular. It's over 50%, which is higher than usual. Then the next most popular fleet is the HMS Backline. It's under 15%, which is less than usual. Actually, almost every single composition other than Namagi is lower than it had been in the past. We have some more other fleets because there's just a lot of kind of jank in other servers. And we also have a lot more Queen Elizabeth fleets this time around. It's kind of hard to say if this is a change from last season or not because we are looking at 3 additional servers. But one thing that we can say is that the rank order of popularity is not too much affected by adding in the 3 other servers. And with our estimates, we did show that Namagi is more popular in the older servers where she's accessible. So I'll conclude with a composition percentage over time of the different fleets. I was so happy that we were getting a good set of data points to look at over time, and then we go and expand our data set. So you see that dotted line, that's in between the 2 seasons where we went from just collecting on 1 server to collecting on all 4 servers, and so not necessarily the same importance. So that's important to note. We can see that Namagi change, obviously. Everything else pretty much goes down. We see the Queen Elizabeth goes up. Like I said, things that you can recognize from the pie chart. And so we are kind of starting over, but it does give us somewhat of a baseline and change and gives you guys a sense of what different servers look like. If we do end up getting a 5th server, well, that is going to be very interesting in how we're going to continue this because we'll have to actually go from 4 to 5 servers again. So that'll be fun. Thank you guys for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video and that you enjoyed this meta-analysis series looking at PvP fleets. Maybe it helps you guys make some decisions in what ships that you want to level if you are interested in PvP. There are a ton of other videos on this channel about building those sort of fleets, so if you do need help with that, join the Discord, subscribe to the channel, and thank you guys for all that support. I just recently applied for monetization, so might be seeing ads, probably not on this video, but on videos in the future. Take care.